team is your thinking on marking line, specifically Mantha? I know things can change. Everything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my thought process going in. First of all, Abby's obviously a net front type guy who provides. He to me can be one of those rare commodities of a big guy who can bring physicality, but has enough skill to play with good players. So we're hoping for a real big year from him. And then just with Larson and Matt, they both have lots of offensive ability. We need him to be ultimately if that line stayed together, they'd have to score lots of goals. I think they both can.
For Mantha, you're starting to see it all come together for him, like especially late last season.
Well, I thought I would actually see through the middle part of this when he got called up for the stretch for that period of time. I thought he was really good. When he moves his feet on a regular basis, he's excellent. I mean, he's just got such a skill package. He's 6'5", he can really skate, he can really shoot, he's got offensive sense. It's hard to duplicate that. I thought, he didn't score as much when he wasn't with Zetterberg. And the one thing we need for sure is for guys to be able to play with other players and still produce offense. And so I certainly think him and Larkin and Abdicator could produce lots of offense, but we need him to do that. We just got to continue on working on his habit of moving his feet all the time.
Were you encouraged the way he reacted when he was healthy scratch for those 2 games? I mean, he really didn't sulk or anything. I mean, he understood it and then came back and tried to be better.
Yeah, well, I think any player that in those instances, they don't have to agree with the decision. In fact, they probably shouldn't. Usually, as a person, you think you deserve the opportunity to play. But you should certainly look in the mirror and say, okay, make sure, what do I control? I control my own attitude and then how I react to this. And I thought his attitude and his reaction were good.
How much has he grown when you first had him?
Well, first of all, he's always been an excellent person. He's an excellent human being who I think wants to be a really good hockey player. He's a somewhat easygoing guy. He's got a smile on his face most days, but he wants to be a good hockey player. I just think this is all habits. And when you're able to play and have the success you had in Major Junior without really moving your feet a lot, why would you move? You have success. And so until you kind of get to the next level where all of a sudden maybe you don't have that same level of success, it's hard to make those changes. Habits are hard to change. They don't change overnight. And it's been a process, but it's been a good process. That's what it is. That's what it's about for most guys.
It seemed like you had an extended conversation with Zetterberg at center ice after that first session. Was there anything of interest being discussed?
Not really, unless you really want the intricacies of our D-zone coverage. I just wanted to. We've made like one tweak in our D-zone coverage, and him and Doug Huda were just talking a little bit. So I want to make sure I was on the same page and just talking through a play that happened that we'll look at on film and make sure we're on the same page.
Philosophically,
Just a little. I would say we've just tried to clarify the responsibility when the puck's up high. And make it black and white. The one thing that I've always believed in coaching is that you coach black and white, you let the players work through the gray. Hockey's a game of gray. It's too fluid to be totally, if this happens, you got to do this. If this happens, you got to do that. You got to rely on principles, coach principles, and so on those instances when the puck gets up high, we just tweaked our philosophy a little bit.
With Tatar and Nyquist, they seem to have a lot of their production later, towards the end of the year. By starting the season with them, with Zetterberg, is the hope that they can get off to a good start and be a little more consistent scoring-wise throughout the year?
Well, certainly we need them if they're gonna play as a line. Again, like I said with the other line, they're gonna have to score and produce. There's no question about it. Now, you have to judge process, and Tad's had tons of chances at the beginning part of the year. He just didn't go in. That's a fact. I watched the games over and over and over again to make sure is there anything. He just didn't go in. He had tons of chances, then they started going. Just like a baseball hitter, when you start hitting, it breeds confidence and you hit more. Just the reality of it. Do we need them to score throughout the season? Yes. I think it's always important to judge people in totality, and at the end of the year, I thought Tad's had a pretty good year, and I thought Nike had a pretty good year. Do we need to make sure, we won our first, we had a pretty good record right off the first 7-8 games, so it wasn't that we got off to a slow start as a team. We need them to produce, and we need to have a fast start, but we also need to win as many games as possible throughout the season.
Talk about the progression of Filip Hronek. He seems, despite the language barrier, seems to really excel at all these camps.
Yeah, I think he came in. He had a good year of Major Junior. And then I thought he came in, and I know the group in Grand Rapids was real happy with his play. He wasn't as good in the prospects tournament as he's going to be. He's going to be better than that. I know that. I think he's a guy who wants to be a real good hockey player that I think is going to continue to progress. We'll see how good. I think we've got a whole bunch of D that have a chance to be good players. Now some of them got to take that next step and demand that they play in the NHL, and then hopefully demand that they're elite. The hardest thing to do is to take the step to be in the NHL and then become elite. That's the hardest thing to do.
Along those lines, what do you need Joe Hicketts to do to knock that door down?
Yeah, I mean, Joe, I love what Joe brings to the table. Joe is a big-time competitor, has big-time smarts. Every level that he's been at, he's kind of excelled and been in big moments. He doesn't fit the prototypical NHL player or defenseman from a size aspect. And so he's got to be great in GR all the time and just continue to demand that he gets his opportunity. And when he gets his opportunity, he's going to knock the door down. That's just the reality of players that are his size on D. But I was a big fan of us signing him in the first place. I think he's got the intangibles that I believe can be the difference maker from a confidence, a swagger, and a competitiveness and smarts. You just got to continue to be. Andy Green, the captain of the Devils, told me a long time ago, the difference between guys that make and guys that don't is mental toughness. And you got to stay mentally tough and just keep grinding through and know there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Philosophically, as a coach, do you have a number in your head how many defensemen, say, under 5'11" can have on an NHL? Like, is it like there's maybe one guy that can do that, or?
I think it depends how good they are. I know what the question is, and I get it. I don't think you can have 6 guys that are under that size. You just can't go up against the big players in the NHL. You got elite players with big time skill. You need some big men. That's what I don't think it's said enough about Jonathan Ericsson is. There's very few guys that can just match physically with Malkin and Getzlaf and those guys. So if you have too many of them, I think you could afford 2 for sure if they're really, really good, and if they're really good. First off, more than anything else, before you talk about size and the makeup of your team, what you need is elite players. And sometimes elite players are big, sometimes they're small. The more elite players you have, the better team you have.
Obviously, a lot of players here with on that Calder Cup winning Griffins team. Can that playing like that high level of hockey in the June really translate into the camps? Or
well, first, Yuri Fisher told me once a long time ago that he thought the best development for a young player is playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And then he said maybe the next best is for young players playing in the Calder Cup playoffs, and you learn how to grind through and you learn how to do those types of things. So I think for guys that are knocking on the door, you hope it helps them. Like anything, there's always a downside in life, and when you play a long time, you don't get as much training time, and that's the reality as well. So I hope it helps them. I guess time will tell.
Hey Jeff, a kid like Rasmussen, what do you want him to get out of coming out of camp like this, or going back to juniors?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is to be able to have a measuring stick of what he needs to do to make sure that a year from now he's knocking on the door to make the hockey team. And I don't know if he will or he won't. I have no idea, but that's what I'd want to do. I'd want to have that measuring stick. Even in the skate test league, where was he at compared to the NHL guys? What was his highest number compared to the NHL guys' highest number? Make sure I got that measuring stick to know the things I need to work on and where I can be better. I think sometimes for young players that have had tons of success, you don't realize as you move up the pyramid how hard it is. And I think when you come to something, when you come to a main camp, you get a realization right away like, oh, there's some really good hockey players here. I got lots of work to do. So hopefully that's what he takes out of this. I hope he's going to play at least in one exhibition game. That's my plan, and I hope he plays real good. I like him tons. I think he's a big, smooth skater. I think that's a heck of an asset. He's got good offensive sense, and I think he can score.